Spoiler alert.
Welcome to Spoiler Alert. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Dustin.
Question. What's your favorite scary movie?
Right. I feel like every
All
other YouTuber now.
All right, so today we're going to talk about Scream 6, Ghostface Takes Manhattan. And unlike Jason Voorhees, Ghostface does in fact take Manhattan.
Yeah, big time.
So straight away, I want to talk about how fucking awesome the opening scene of this film is. Wherein you have Samara Weaving and she's on a Tinder date or whatever the knockoff site was that we'll call it not Tinder.
Right.
And she's on a not Tinder date. And she's a film studies professor. And they're talking about scary movies. And of course, Samara Weaving roasts the Scream/Stab movies in universe. That was kind of a nice touch I loved. And and as it builds up, there's a lot of genuine tension and suspense going on.
Right. Yeah.
And then you have Samara Weaving leaving the restaurant trying to look for this not Tinder date.
Without paying, I might add.
Yeah. It builds upon the tension. And she, mind you, is a film studies professor who specializes in horror movies, decides to go down the dark alley.
Right.
And then you hear Roger Jackson's iconic voice go, well, you shouldn't have went down the dark alley. And then gets brutally fucking murdered.
Yeah.
By Tony Revolori, who is in the Ghostface costume and just masterfully slips out of the costume. And like nothing happened. And I was like, yes, this is where I want Scream 6 to go. Like, straight away, I was already at 5 stars because Tony Revolori and Samara Weaving are not sleepwalking through this. You can tell they were probably on for like a day or two, but neither of them are sleepwalking through this.
Right.
That's why I love Samara Weaving so much. Like, even in like minor roles, she's not sleepwalking through it. Like in Babylon, she's with Margot Robbie in her scenes, and they're battling against each other. And it's this one scene, but she is not sleepwalking through it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I knew they were going to do something different, and everybody knew that pretty much like the first 2 kills would be Samara and Tony, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know, we just sort of figured that out. The internet, that is. And it was tension filled. It was good. And you know, he takes his mask off after the fucking kill and then, you know, walks back to the apartment and passes why am I blanking on her name? Tara. So like the whole thing is cool. The whole thing is like, oh shit, what's going on? It's like this extended thing. Very different, very cool. I did just read, actually no, I saw a podcast with the Radio Silence guys rather, and they said originally the voice on the other end of the phone on her date was going to be Jack Quaid. And I'm sorry, but now that I heard that, I think that's the coolest fucking thing in the world. Yeah. And I'm bummed that they didn't do that.
Yeah. And Revolori's character wanted revenge on Samara Weaving for giving him a C- on his Giallo essay.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, there's another Ghostface that pops up and straight up murders him brutally.
Well, here's the thing, though. I want to ask your opinion. Because I'm a little, I've only seen the movie once, and I loved it. I thought it was great. It took a minute for me to, it took like a week for me to process the ending a bit. But the more that I process, and we'll get there, I think it's actually perfect, right? But he says we're finishing Richie's movie. So here's my thing: were those 2 guys Tony and the dead guy in the refrigerator, which you'll get to in a second, were they like copycats of Richie and fans of Richie, or were they friends of his?
I'd argue copycats.
Then how did
copycats.
How did the actual killer find out about them then?
I think they were more fascinated with the stab aspect because we're going into modern times right now with the allegories of mass shootings. I don't know why my Facebook is on right now.
Oh, well.
All right. We're going into the aspects of mass shootings and shit. And I think that's what's serving as an allegory for that. God, everything's falling apart on my desk. My iPad.
Well, at least there's not a ghost face loose in your office.
Yes.
I mean, because it sounded like they were in league with Richie, and in the end, when the dude, Jesus, now my shit's blowing out. Unless it's you, is it you or me?
No, it's probably you.
Weird. My sound's off, so I don't know. Who cares? Anyway, when they reveal the theater and all that stuff in the very end, I don't want to jump too far ahead. Yeah. That's what threw me, because he said that that was whose, and I'm like, wait a minute. So maybe those guys were extras. You know what I mean? Maybe there was a little 3-man team that they were, or 4-man team. So it would have been Richie and what was the other girl's name in 5? The other killer.
She was the one on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I can't remember right off the top of my head too.
Yeah, so
because I went back and listened to that podcast before we did this.
Yeah, so my whole thing is that I need to see it one more time, right? Because I want to know if those guys were Richie's friends, which would make more sense to me. So I'll go against what you're saying. I'll say that because for them to think they're finishing Richie's movie and for the actual killer to have knowledge of them, I feel like they were probably Richie's friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is weird. It's so weird in this franchise that like the children of the original killers are targeted for death and framing by the other killers. That's so weird to me.
But it goes into what I love about this opening scene, that Ghostface could be anybody.
Right.
As Tony Revolori just successfully kills Samara Weaving. And then you have the other guy come in and murder Tony Revolori. And I was like, okay, I love where this is going. If this continues in that direction, oh, fuck yes, this is a 5-star film. But we'll get more to that later.
Oh, yes, we will.
All right, but going back to what I was saying, I love the conspiracy angle of Sam Carpenter being Ghostface. That's another thing I loved about this movie. In that you're getting into Reddit conspiracy theories. You're getting into the true crime angle of the Woodsboro murders.
Yeah, and they needed to change this franchise. Not to change it, but I guess evolve it like to their own thing. And they definitely do that in Scream 6. There's a lot of bold choices here. And let's start with the elephant in the room. We were all worried about Neve Campbell not being involved. Sidney Prescott, the first Scream movie, she's not going to be involved in. And I don't miss her. I mean, okay, respect though to Sidney. Sidney's the original OG. She's up there with Jamie Lee Curtis. We love her, but this movie almost thrives because she's not in it. And I'm wondering and I haven't found anything on YouTube yet. I'm wondering what the original script was with her involved, because what a way to hand off a franchise. Because literally, if you just forget about all the offstage drama, right?
Yeah.
And you watch 5, at the end, Sam asks her, "Am I going to be okay?" And she says, "Eventually."
Yeah.
All that stuff, right? And then she goes her way, and Sam goes her way, and here we are. We pick up with Sam again, Sam and Tara, and there is no Sidney. She's mentioned, as she should be, 2 or 3 times, but but she's not there. And Sam and Tara, you know, and the other core four really carry this film. We're like, I didn't find myself like, this sucks, or where's Sydney? I didn't find myself, and that is really, that's really rare, Ryan. That's really rare.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. I didn't miss her at all. Like, in fact, they send her off with a line, let her have her happy ending.
Right.
And I hardcore agree with that. To bring in Sidney Prescott at this point in New York, narratively would feel forced.
I just think I'm still really curious to see what their plan was. Was there a character they weren't like? I know that they brought Hayden Panettiere back as Kirby, but was that always a thing before we knew?
Which, by the way, you correctly predicted.
Yeah, oh my God, I was all over that shit. I'm telling you, yeah. Because that Easter egg, and then also like they just. Radio Silence has a really good understanding, I think, of what the fans want, and like their Easter eggs like are on another level. They don't just do shit to do shit, and which is cool because sometimes you want to make a world feel more full and whatever, but like they actually are like paying off their Easter eggs. The fact that Gail never got a call and she gets the call in this one, the fact that Kirby is alive was this little YouTube thumbnail or whatever.
And an FBI agent, no less.
Right. Who still is mysterious, regardless of she still has like her past is still pretty mysterious. Like to be real with you, like if you wanted to, and maybe it's a comic book series, or maybe it's a couple of quickly written novels, but like you could do a whole spin-off thing on Kirby. Like she was literally stabbed and left for dead, and according to her, died for 4 minutes. Dude, I mean, there's so much to mine there. And I love the Sydney angle. I always have. But to me, to be real with you, in 5, it almost felt like a glued on kind of a thing, on like a little button that they threw in there on the end. And I think she needed to be in 5 to give the franchise the torch passing and like the validation. But she really didn't need to be in this one.
So I don't blame Neve Campbell for wanting better pay, in which, if we're just going to off the top speculate, she's going to get stabbed to death, and then will be magically brought back at the end.
Well, I don't think they're. First of all, I think Sydney is unkillable. Number 1. Number 2, it'd be disrespectful if they did that. Number 3, I think her family's probably off limits too. And number 4. There has to be a reason to bring her back, and I think this is where a lot of the Scream people get like in arguments. So so if you remember 5, Dewey tells her not to come, and she's like, "Oh no, I know, I'm not coming. Yes, I have a gun, I'm good." So like her protocol after 3, after Scream 4, is when a ghost face pops up, don't. Like go into deep hiding until it's over with. And she's done this numerous times now, right? So she did that in 5. She was off the radar. Her, Mark, the kids, they went into hiding. And the only reason she shows up at the hospital in 5 is because somebody fucking gutted Dewey. And so she's only in it literally for the last 15 minutes of the movie. And like that's cool, but we don't need to keep doing that. And
exactly,
Neve Campbell had, if you really look at it, you go back to 3, it's kind of the same thing. She's in hiding. There's 1 or 2 scenes with her during the movie, and then she comes back towards the end, right? In 4, she's in it more. She's more of a central character, but then Courtney Cox is sort of only in it for a little bit, and then in 5, it's more all the things. So I just think that if we've wrapped Sydney's story and she has a happy ending, I do think there's a way to bring her back and have it be cool. But I don't think that and man, I didn't anticipate myself saying this last year, but I think for the next for Scream 7 and possibly Scream 8 that we don't need Sydney. I think maybe she comes back
don't.
in 9 or 10 for some blast off last finale thing where it's all fucking out war.
We don't at all. That's the thing.
Right.
Because the new characters are solid. They can handle their own. Like, I really don't think we needed Gale in this movie. But she's there.
In 6, I think Gale was needed in 6. Because like Gale never got a phone call. You know, Gale never got, and like she got to really fuck Ghostface up. We really got to see her really go at it. I mean, you know, she gets sort of stabbed. She survives, which is awesome. And then she gets taken to the hospital. You don't see her again. But like, she's clearly mourning Dewey. She's clearly moved on from, you know, just some young guy walking around her apartment. They don't show much of him. But like, that scene was so victim. Yeah, but that scene was so cool. That scene was so cool. She's legacy, so, and she's the only one left besides Sydney that's legacy, and now Kirby. So I think they needed a legacy or two. I mean, but potentially Gale could have not been in this, and it would have been fine. But I think it just lended more. Okay, we're not gonna have Sydney, but okay, at least we got Gale. I think it's cool to have someone who's been in all of them, right? We're all nervous during my screening at the Alamo Drafthouse in Chicago. We were all nervous. We were all screaming at the movie screen during Gale's attack scene, and it was fun, man. It reminded me of like why we go to the movies. Like the guy, like when Gale was like, she hit the fucking Ghostface. The Ghostface is laying there. I like whispered to my girlfriend, like, beat his fucking ass. And the guy next to my girlfriend was like, hell yeah, you know. And then like, you know, she got stabbed or whatever, and the dude next to me is like, oh, he yelled like, oh hell no, I'm Gale's biggest fan. This movie sucks. And then she survived. He's like, okay, I'm all right, I'm sorry. And he was like little whispers, right? It was great. It was a really great experience, you know. And that's what's good about Scream, is you can have those like emotional. I mean, there are people in Ghostface costumes in my theater. It was great.
Yeah. I had a regular screening. You were at Alamo Drafthouse, which is like King Theater chain.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing.
I wish we had Alamo Drafthouse near Toledo.
Well, there was supposed to be one in Detroit, but that was pre-pandemic. I think they bagged it. But I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they go ahead with it now.
Yeah. Because I just love the way Alamo Drafthouse runs.
Oh, man. And if you can't even come into the movie if you're late. Like if you miss, like you have the previews, you're good to go. But like if you present a ticket at the front and you're like, oh yeah, I'm seeing this movie, and the movie's already started, they won't let you in, and there's no refunds. Yeah. Like they're like on it. And like the Scream thing was great. Like they ran it so well. It was the night, it was the preview night. It was the Thursday before it actually opened wide, and theater was packed. Is my first Alamo Drafthouse experience. It's so worth it. You know, if you can't, and I did, well, there was a fan screening, a fan event with like a free poster, which I wanted, but I didn't do it. The reason I didn't do it because it was in 3D. I don't need to see this shit in 3D. Yeah,
me neither. I went to Phoenix Theaters to go see this in 3D and did a double feature with 65, which, fuck the critics, that's actually a pretty good movie.
Nice. Yeah.
And then I got like a poster for Scream 6, and I forgot to take it with me. I sent you the picture of the poster.
Oh, you forgot it? Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, oh shh. And I was like halfway at Toledo at that point. I was like, shit, where's that poster? But
Phoenix Theater's the ones at the mall, right?
Monroe, Michigan. Yeah.
Yeah. That they have a I forget what they call that.
I went to like that big screen.
Yeah, but it's called something. The sound in that is like exactly the Encore. Oh my god. I saw Avengers Infinity War there. Holy hell.
But yeah, this goes more into the toxic fandom aspect, like how the Ghostface killers are using masks from each Scream/Stab movie.
Yeah, which again, I feel like we both should have seen this one more time before we went into this, but yeah, I'm still sort of at loss as to why they were, what that was about. Just for better effect, or I mean, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I
But
love
yeah.
that.
But yeah. And then they'll do like some really cool interactions with legacy characters, like the meet cute with Minnie and Kirby, where they're discussing their favorite sequels and they're like completing each other's sentences.
That was awesome.
And I was like, those two should be together.
That'd be really awesome. And the thing is like, you know, when Kirby's getting loaded into the back of the ambulance after she's been like fucking brutalized every single which way possible. And it looks as though and I saw the Radio Silence guys commenting on this, but when Kirby gets stabbed, the killer stabs her in the exact place she was stabbed before, which is such good writing, because those killers and their dad were studied, their brother and like all the other, you know, they had all the memorabilia and stuff from all whatever. That's the coolest part about this movie to me. Is like, that was Richie's collection. That's fucking nuts. First of all.
Yeah. And that gets into one of my main issues. I knew who the killers were straight away.
Really?
Whereas, yeah, I knew straight away they were the killers. I'm like, okay, Discount Karen Gillan's the killer. The cop's the killer. Discount Jack Wade's the killer.
Well, then his daughter died, though. Quote unquote.
Yeah.
Did that throw you at all?
No, not at all.
What's crazy is Mindy telling everybody in that, like, when she's like, I'm with so and so on the train, aka Ghostface. Like, that's the funniest part about the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like, they're messing with the meta stuff at this point, and it's working. And I think, well, I'll wait till the end. I'll wait till we start wrapping it up to tell you what I think.
Yeah.
For the sequel. Because we know there's going to be a sequel. Because, Ryan, these days, it's all about the sequel.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. It's all about the sequel.
You got to have a sequel, Sid.
It'll probably come out next year, like during Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
You know damn well Paramount's going to try and tentpole Scream 7 because of all the money these movies are making.
It's crazy that they haven't announced a 7 yet. And I
give it a couple months.
I think they're going to announce 2 more and that they're filming back to back. And I also think that we might, and this is just me going out, you know, I always try to say something controversial. I think we might get a fucking show out of this. I think that I think they're going to try to create a Scream cinematic universe. And with Paramount Plus being right there, why the fuck would they not do a show? Even like, listen, remember what I said about Kirby in the beginning of this episode? There's your fucking show. There's your show. Yeah. Her tracking serial killers in like every 4 episodes. It's a fucking, you know, a Ghostface thing. You know, come on. Yeah. And you're right about the school shooting, because like people are like, this franchise is so unrealistic. Like, they're putting on these masks and it's always someone different, and it would never be connected like that. It's like, well, you do realize that, you know, 80% of the people who shoot up schools worship the 2 guys who started it in Columbine, right? So it's actually like pretty legit. Like, I think Scream has managed to do what Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street were not able to do, is maintain this sort of like continuity that at times was disjointed, then somebody comes in and reshapes it and just continues on. I don't want them to make 3 Scream movies with Radio Silence. I want them to make 6.
Yeah. And you have Radio Silence sneaking in some Terrifier elements with Ghostface openly using a shotgun in close quarters.
Loved it.
And I was like, okay, that's going back to what I was saying about the allegories for mass shootings, that these are commonplace everywhere. You have this is Scream 6, when it works, it hardcore works.
Yeah. Yeah. It really does. And like, you know, first I kind of had a problem with the killers, like, and they said the Richie thing, and no, you still don't get it, and they showed it, and I was like, oh shit, that's dope, right? And whatever, and I was like, thinking about it. About a week later, I go, oh my god, that makes total fucking sense, and like it all made sense to me.
All right, we might as well just get to the finale at this point.
Sure.
We've already established Dermot Mulroney, Discount Karen Gillan, and Discount Jack Quaid are the deranged family out for revenge.
Right.
And I do have some issues with this.
Right.
They're trying to make Kirby the red herring. Like, oh, she's been off the force for like 2 months. And I'm like, no, she hasn't. Stop this already. Just get to the point.
Right.
And then you get like one of the most badass final showdowns in this movie, where you have Samantha consulting with Billy Loomis, 48-year-old Skeet Ulrich, saying you have to become the new Ghostface. I'm like, yes, I love that conflict she has. That's what makes Samantha such a great character, and I don't get why everybody hates this character. Because I think she's more fascinating than Sydney. Because I watched all four. I watched the first four before prepping into this, and it's like, Sidney Prescott is good, but Sam Carpenter is next fucking level. Right.
Well, she's got more skin in the game. Literally. Yeah. She's the daughter of Billy Loomis. I think you're correct. At the end when she so after they kill off the two kids and the dad's the only one left and they both fall and crash and then he passes out and there's an undisclosed amount of time and we wake up and she's in the Ghostface costume and I'm like, oh, this is a little much. And then I'm like, wait a minute, Sydney did that in the original. Okay, whatever. And then she stabs him and she tries to say he's like, thank you for not killing me or whatever. And she looks to Tara and Tara's like, really? And she's like, okay. And then she does it. At first I had a problem with that, but the more I think about it, it's pretty fucking cool actually, because Tara gives a little sign of joy when she's stabbing that dude in the fucking throat.
I was all the way in on Samantha wearing the Ghostface outfit.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck yes.
What I don't like is in the very end, she steals Billy's mask, her dad's mask, and takes it with her. Then she chucks it on the sidewalk, right? Or in the street, signifying that she's trying to move on from it. Because I want Billy Loomis to haunt her in the next one too. And I loved how he wasn't a full-bodied apparition. This time he was only in the reflection. I love that. And
that shot is so fucking cool too.
Yeah, it is.
But my main issue with Scream 6 is that it's Scream 2 2023.
Sure.
Like, we need to make this its own thing. Like, if it had continued, like, with the way the first act was going, I would have 5-starred this movie. Like, if you actually went through and made Kirby Ghostface, I would have been like, oh yeah, fuck yes. Someone who has barely any connection to them. There's one throwaway line about how Kirby was a senior when Sam was a freshman.
Yeah,
so she's not really
true. I just don't like. I don't like that. I don't like personally for me. I don't like Kirby being Ghostface. I love that Sam is always the fucking. So okay. So in this one, are we counting? There's 3 killers in this one. Then actually, there's 5. Total, right? Because the 2 guys in the beginning. So at some point, Dermot Mulroney was in the outfit, probably in the beginning. Probably, because it sounds like him. Who the fuck cares about movies? Like whatever, like that. That's totally Dermot. Okay, so there's 5 killers in this one, technically, right? That means that Sam is the 6th. Well, I mean, maybe Tara too. I don't know, but there are 6 people that are in the Ghostface costume in this, and I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
I don't want them to abandon that Sam tortured storyline, and that's why I don't either. I wish that they would have ended it with her keeping the mask. That would have been so much more interesting to me.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, that could have been a great angle itself.
Right. There is a post-credit scene.
I didn't watch the post-credits. Go ahead and explain.
Yeah, it was just Mindy going. It goes back to that explanation of her explaining the rules of a franchise now, and she just is saying in the post-credit scene, not every movie deserves a post-credit scene, and that's the post-credit scene, right? Yeah. There are, the mini Jack Quaid, the other killer, can't think of his name. He does do the obligatory pop up and run at with a knife or whatever. And the Stu Macher television set gets pulled down on him, which is kind of weird. It's kind of a weird kill or whatever. He does say something to Tara, because he's supposed to be the virgin. Like, I'm going to put something inside you, Tara, like talking about his knife, which is like really crazily like sexual and violent or whatever. Tara does get off on killing him for sure. Tara also killed what's her face in the last movie too. She shot her in the fucking head or whatever a bunch of times. So Tara is also a killer. So that, whatever, right? Self-defense, but sure.
And then Tara, that scene where Tara drops and she's holding the knife, that fucking ruled.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really, really good. They don't. So there's just a couple things I need to bring up. One is Kirby and Mindy talking about Stu Macher, and Kirby saying Stu Macher's dead, and then Mindy saying, well, that is if you believe he's dead. You don't believe the internet rumors. Love that they addressed that. Love that they put that there. Wonderful. The other thing is Tara and Sam's mom is still not present in this movie. They still teased it. She's still in Europe, right? I love that that's still something, because there's totally going to be something there. They're teasing with that. I have, for Scream 7, I have some ideas, but before we get to it, I'll let you go. Do your thing.
As for my other issue, I wish there was more stakes within the main characters, because it feels like they're too afraid to kill off main characters. There needs to be some sort of danger. At the very least, kill off the love interest. Like, do something. Because I think that's like a bunch of ancillary characters died.
Sure.
Like Samara Weaving died. Tony Reveloria died. Annika, Mindy's girlfriend, died, who was barely a character. I forgot she was in the movie Scream 5.
Right. Yeah.
And I know you said you liked that Gail Weathers was, and then Mindy shows up out of nowhere with a perfectly clean shirt saying she's alive so she can explain the rules of Halloween Ends in Scream 7.
Yeah, pretty much. I thought that too, but I also thought, hey, this is Radio Silence. This is their first Scream movie, really, where they're on their own. They totally nailed it, because they really had to do a lot of like maneuvering for 5, and for 6 they didn't really have to. They can like explore this crafted legacy and kind of make their own movie. So I think it's cool. And I also think the reason why they kept pushing Core 4 is because it was fun. It was funny, right? But also I think they want us to really buy into Core 4, because in the next 2 or 3 movies, they're going to kill them. They're going to kill a lot of them off. Yeah. And so they want us going into the next one. And she even says, Mindy says, that's like a twist within a twist. The Core 4 survives. That is just like such good writing and so perfect. Yeah. And I just think that Mindy has to live because Randy died, and he died way too soon. That was a huge mistake to kill Randy that early in the original films. So I think Mindy will always live. I think her brother will probably get it and get it really, really violently bad. Once he's like in a relationship with Tara. I think I agree with you that like, they all 4 survived. It seems kind of like hokey, but I think that's so on purpose, man, because once we get into another film with them and him and Tara are in a relationship and, Mindy's doing this and whatever, like it's going to hurt bad, especially if it's really violent, And then, oh my God, Scream 7 has teeth like none of the films before it, and that's their angle because, but I do think that the monologue And I'm surprised that they did a monologue.
The monologue. Don't get me started with the 10-minute monologue.
Right. So I think I think that in the next one, and people have been saying this for a long time, but I think in the next film, I think it has to probably be a two-parter, and it probably ends on a cliffhanger, and we get 2 films within 12 months. Like that's, I think for the next, I think my prediction is the next one they go and they shoot 7 and 8 back to back. And there's probably some spin-off series. That's what I think is going to happen. I think that's why the announcement is yet to come, but I think that they build the next 2 on the core 4, Kirby, Sam and Tara's mom. My prediction, and I'm taking this from a lot of things that I've seen, is that we are going in a direction of, instead of a stab movie, there's someone making a true crime documentary or a true crime podcast, and they gather.
That's brought up by Gail Weathers herself.
Sure. They gather all the survivors of Ghostface in one place, maybe somewhere remote and snowy, like up north in the woods, and then the fucking trauma starts. Because you can't go back to New York. I suppose you could. People are saying, oh, back to LA, but I think that they'll probably do that, but they'll probably save that. They just need to keep changing it up. Because eventually in the Scream movies, there's going to be less of them that take place in woods. If you think about it, 2 didn't take place in Woodsboro, 3 didn't take place in Woodsboro, 6 didn't take place in Woodsboro. So now half of them did and half of them didn't, which is very interesting. But that's my prediction.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give my star rating and updated ranking of the Scream franchise. I went a very high 3.5 on this. It could have been 4, but those little issues with me kind of knocked it down for me. And my updated ranking is 1, 5, 2, 6, 3, and 4.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to go 4 out of 5 stars. God, this is really hard, dude. My updated ranking is going to be, god damn it, 1, 2, 6, 3, 5, and 4. Yeah.
All right. Be sure to like, comment, share, spread the word of New Realms Media. Follow us on all of our socials at New Realms Media. And until then, what's your favorite scary movie?